Thank you for joining me for another episode of Awaken Empower TV. I'm your host, Ethan Fox. Today I'm joined by Intuitive Channel Louise Kay, who is fairly new on the scene, about a year and a half. She's been traveling around the world and channeling, and we had the opportunity to speak today about her life journey and how she came to become an intuitive channel, and also had the opportunity to speak with the ninth dimensional Pleiadians that refer to themselves as Aikon, that she channels. And we asked them quite a number of questions, from the what's happening with the awakening of consciousness and to what sort of diet and lifestyle would be most beneficial to our growth. So without any further delay, here's Louise Kay. Hi, Louise. Welcome to Awaken Empower TV. It's a pleasure to have you on with me and to spend the next couple of hours learning more about you, and to also speak to some of the guides that you work with. So welcome to my show.
Hi, thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me on.
And where are you calling from right now?
I'm in Brazil right now.
And originally, so tell me a little bit about your childhood. Where were you born? And I find a lot of people, and of course we're going to get more into the channeling portion later on and have some questions about that. But I find a lot of people who are gifted in terms of channeling, or even a lot of other things, usually have some early childhood influences or inclinations that were some signs that they were going to go in that direction. Tell me a bit about what your childhood was like, and any kind of educational background, and what you were doing up to the point that you started channeling, which I believe was a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah, the channeling started about a year and a half ago. I was born and I grew up in the northwest England, not far from Manchester, and I had a very happy childhood, very loving parents, and the only thing that I remember that kind of set me aside from other children was that I was very sensitive, more than the average child. So my parents told me that they never needed to tell me off. They would just say to me, "Louise, don't do that," and I'd start crying. So I was very sensitive. And later on, when I was in my 20s, I actually had a regression. I worked with someone called Mary Rodwell, and she really helped me a lot, because I was going through a time of fear when I realized that I was having visitations. So she helped me and she regressed me, and I discovered that I'd had visitations since I was a young child, actually, but I wasn't aware of it right now.
And so you had, I heard you speak about having an awakening experience while you were in college, I think it was. Is that what you're talking about? Tell me more about that.
No, it was after college. First of all, I started having extrasensory perception experiences. So I would be having a nap, and then I would experience sleep paralysis or out-of-body experiences, and I didn't really know anything about these things. So I started researching what was going on, and as I started researching, it was like I entered a kind of rabbit hole, and I discovered more and more, and it was like I was almost addicted. I couldn't stop researching. It was so interesting for me. And at this time, I also started experiencing seeing beings during the night. And I was visited by many different kinds of beings. And this led me to a journey which took me to India, when I had a kind of spiritual awakening. And I feel that I experienced a kind of multi-dimensional world, as well as a world of non-duality that India gave me an experience of directly. I went to a very special place with strong energy called Rishikesh. It's at the foothills of the Himalayas. And while I was there, I had some very intense experiences, which I can describe maybe as realizing the true nature of my being, that we're all one and we're all connected, and experiencing life almost like a dream, that everybody that I meet is just another version of me. And this had a profound impact on me, and it changed the way that I look at life and experience life. I felt I wanted to share this with other people, because I realized that so many people are suffering unnecessarily, I made a kind of disconnect between the inner voice in the head and a kind of stillness that's underlying the whole of experience. And I realized that when we're not identified with that voice in the head, then it doesn't have power over us anymore. And I realized that me and also many other people are having an experience where we're giving power to that voice, and it's controlling and affecting our lives in a negative way for many of us, because it comes from conditionings or patterns that we learned from our parents, and it's nothing to do with who we are actually. And I experienced deep understandings like this that led me to change my perception of reality. And I realized that I wanted to support people and help them to understand these things so they don't have to suffer so much in their life. And I understood that we actually have much more power than we're led to believe, because we're all creating our own lives, and we're doing it either consciously or unconsciously. And when we start to understand that and we deliberately, consciously create our life, there's so much more available to us, and life gets so much more exciting. And I really understood that how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking is affecting everything in my life. It's affecting my relationships, the choices I'm making, what I'm doing. And these experiences all together kind of turned my life upside down. And I realized I couldn't go back to the job I was doing. I was working as a teacher at the time. And I took some time to kind of process these experiences that I had, these understandings that I gained after my time in India. And then I realized, okay, so I quit my job, I left my apartment. That's not really the life I want to live anymore. I want to do something different. But actually, I have no idea what I want to do now, except I feel somehow that I want to support people and I want to work with these understandings. But I just didn't know how I was going to manifest that really into something concrete, like work. So I was meditating one day and I said a prayer from my heart and connected to what you might call the universe or the divine energy or God. Everybody has a different word for it. And I just really prayed from my heart, whatever it is that you want me to do, I will do it. I was so surrendered in that moment. I felt like I would have done anything. I just wanted it to be aligned for me. It came from a place of total surrender. And I think that's why I felt a sense of power in that prayer. And it was the next day after that, I was meditating, and suddenly something opened up in me. And it was like a doorway opened up. And I just knew that I was channeling. I don't know how I knew. I just knew it was something that felt very natural to me. And it felt just instinctive. I felt like I needed someone to ask me a question to let the information flow out. And I was lying on the bed, and just at that moment, my partner came in the room. And I was in a very deep state of meditation, so I couldn't really speak properly. So I kind of whispered, ask me a question. Ask me a question. And he looked at me and he was like, what? Louise, are you okay? And I kept saying, ask me a question. Because I knew that something wanted to come through me. But he wasn't understanding what was going on, obviously. And he was getting more worried, like, what's going on with Louise? And he said, are you okay? Are you okay, Louise? What's going on? So I said, okay, this isn't going to work. And I came out of my meditation. And I told him what had happened. And he was really excited. So the next day I said, okay, let's try again. Let's see if I can do this again. So I went into a meditative state again with the intention of opening this gateway that I felt had opened. And this time he was ready with the questions. And it happened. And he asked these beings, who are you? Where are you? What do you want with us? Why are you communicating with Louise? And it was a lot of fun for us. In the beginning, we were playing with this new kind of game. And as I did it, it started to get more fluent each time, because in the beginning it was coming through really slow, and many times they would say looking for words, searching for word, and it wasn't very fluent. But the more I did it, the more fluent it started to get. And then I told a few friends about it, and they were excited. They said, oh, I want to ask a question. So they started asking questions, and it just kind of grew from there, really. And I'm having so much fun with it. And now I'm working with it. I'm working with people over Skype all over the world, and doing group events. And it's just growing, and I feel so blessed that I can share this with other people.
Now, I find, what I'm curious, those earlier experiences happened in your 20s. So why did it take so long for you to, since you've just been doing this for the last year and a half, and you're 35, you said, right?
I'm 36 now.
36. So why such a big gap in time from that experience to now?
Well, the time I spoke about in India, that was about 3 years ago, actually. And since then, I experienced a very rapid acceleration in my inner growth. For about 10 years before that, I was going through a more slow process of changing my lifestyle, changing my diet. I started doing yoga, and I was reading a lot of books about spirituality. I think that was just the timing for my personal journey, and it's the right time for me now. Maybe I reached a level of maturity where I'm able to work with this energy that I didn't really have that before.
Do you believe that those changes you made earlier on, such as the diet and yoga, were in any way responsible for or necessary for you to evolve to this point to be able to be a channel like you are now? Or is that just something just happened that's not really related?
Well, I can't say if it would have happened regardless, but my feeling is that it affected it. I think the thing that affected me the most was when I started meditating, actually, because during meditation, I found I was able to connect to a deeper aspect of myself, and I discovered a stillness underlying the whole of my experience, and I think that helped me to tune into subtler levels of energy that I wasn't really aware of before. It helped quieten my mind, and when my mind was quieter, I could tune into my intuition and my feeling body more. I think also the yoga and the diet played a part.
What is there a particular kind of meditation that you practice that you found to be most beneficial? I asked that because I've had a number of intuitive channels on my show over the years, and they all talk about meditation as having been instrumental in the opening up of their gifts. So can you talk more about what type of meditation you practice and if you think it really makes a difference?
Yeah, in the beginning, when I first started getting interested in meditation, I was trying all kinds of different guided meditations, just what I found on YouTube. And at some point, I felt like I needed something more, I want to use the word serious. I don't think it's really the right word, but maybe more technical. So I trained in transcendental meditation, TM. And I practiced that twice daily. And I think that's the practice that had the most profound effect on me. I found it very effective because it really helped me to silence my mind. But now I don't really practice that so much anymore. I don't do it rigorously twice a day. I aim to spend every moment in meditation, because for me, life is a meditation, and every moment is an invitation to meet the divine, meet deeper aspects of ourselves, face challenges. It's all a meditation. And I think the practice is to stay centered, stay in the present moment, and not get caught up in memories from the past, not get caught up in projections or thoughts about the future, but just really to remain present right now and live life from this moment now. That's where the magic happens for me.
It seems to me, from having talked with a lot of intuitive channels, that especially those who channel extraterrestrial consciousness have had extraterrestrial contact throughout their lives, even from early childhood throughout their adult lives. Do you have any memory of any kind of experience like that?
I've been having conscious contact since I was in my 20s, so about 10 years or maybe a bit more. And I've experienced visitations from all different kinds of beings. Most of them, I feel that they're benevolent and they've been supporting me in opening and in this process of transformation that I've been going through, almost like they're working with me, like they've been training me. And often I also see things in the bedroom at night, which I'm not sure what they are, but I think they look kind of like drones. And they're not fully physical like you see in our material world. They're almost transparent, and they seem to be observing me.
Now, is this anything like I'm sure you're familiar with the grays that are talked about a lot? Is that what you're describing, or something different?
Yeah, I've experienced visitations from them, the grays, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we get into more about the channeling part of the conversation, for those who are unfamiliar with you, who are watching the show, and who may be unfamiliar with channeling, can you tell us, are you a medium or a channel, or are you a little of both? And can you explain the difference between medium and channel?
Yeah, for me, a medium is somebody that communicates with people that have passed over. So humans on Earth that have passed over and they have access to that realm and they relay messages. I know there's different kinds of mediums. So that word doesn't really resonate for me for what I do. I feel that I work with beings which refer to themselves as archangels or ascending masters, or non-physical energy beings that exist in a different dimension, a different realm of existence. The primary beings that I work with, they call themselves Aikon, and they say that they exist in the Pleiadian star system, the central sun called Alcyon. But they say that if we were to go there in a spaceship, if we had that technology, we wouldn't actually see them because they exist in a different realm in that location.
And so besides the icons, do you channel any other consciousnesses or beings, or is it only them?
Yeah, I primarily work with Aikon. I have kind of strong relationship, strong connection with them, and I'm doing a lot of work with them. When I do private sessions with people, often Archangel Michael comes through, or Archangel Metatron, or Raphael. So Kuan Yin comes through, but she only comes with women for some reason. She works with the divine feminine energy. And most recently, I started channeling Saint Germain.
And while you're channeling these ninth-dimensional icons, would you say that your consciousness is connecting to, or is your energy body at the same dimension to be able to communicate with them? How does the channeling process work for you? And can you explain that?
They're a collective, so it's like one being communicating, but actually it's a collective of beings communicating as one. When I channel, I go into what feels to me like a deep meditative state. So I think my brain waves are operating at a different level than they are right now when I'm talking to you or doing sport or whatever. And my mind kind of goes to one side. I still experience that it's there. And the best way I can describe it is like a kind of gateway or doorway opens up. This energy comes and I meet it there.
And so being a conscious channel, how is it that you are able to, now you described that you're over to one side, but how is it that you're able to keep your conscious mind and thoughts from interfering or filtering the information that's coming, or the energy that's coming through and being translated into words?
Well, I think to a certain extent, my being or my personality or my mind does slightly taint, I don't know if that's the right word, or affect the information that comes through. Because I don't know if it's possible to ever be 100% clear, because it's kind of coming through me, it's coming through my being, so it's picking up some of my essence on the way through. I'm sorry, I forgot the question.
It's okay. The question was, do you think that being a conscious channel, that the information is coming through to you as energy, right, as a vibration, and your mind is translating that vibration or energy into words that we can understand?
Yeah, so especially in the beginning, I would recognize that my mind was judging my experience and saying things like, you're imagining this, you're making it up. But I recognized it was just my mind, and I didn't give any power to it. And as I didn't listen to it, it seemed to quieten down. So it doesn't interfere so much now like that.
I see. And tell me, so you're in a relationship and you travel together with your partner. How long have you been together?
About 2.5 or 3 years.
Okay. Have you found that, and I'm asking this question for a reason, have you found that the relationship was instrumental, or somehow the coming together of your two energies stimulated or was synchronous with your awakening process to becoming a channel?
Yes, very much so. Since I met my partner, that's when this speeding up of the process happened. It's been very transformational for me. He's been such a support to me. I'm so grateful for all his support. He's really an amazing guy. I'm kind of biased.
And as far as when you channel, since you're a conscious channel, are you able to ask questions about your own life, or you and your partner, or how do you deal with that?
My partner asks questions about his life, but I never feel like I want to ask questions about my own life. It doesn't feel like I'm really doing it for that reason. It feels like I'm doing it to support other people. I'm not able to ask questions myself and channel the answer, because to ask a question, I have to use my mind, and I can't channel when my mind's there. So somebody else would have to ask a question, but I never feel like I want to do that. Sometimes my partner says to me, oh, why don't you ask, I'll ask Aikon for you and you can channel. And I just really don't feel like I want to. It just feels like it's for other people. But the support that I need comes to me in other ways. I'm very supported, and I meet people that support me, and a lot of my support comes from my partner too.
Now, do you think that you are, and maybe this is a subjective question you can't really answer, but do you think that you're happier than most people? Is your vibration higher? I ask that because I wonder, is that the reason why you're able to channel in a conscious state without having too much of an influence on the information that's coming through? Do you think that that's the case?
Well, my partner always says to me that I'm the happiest person he's ever met in his life. And I think it's just part of my natural personality that I'm kind of laid back and quite easygoing and kind of light. So maybe that helps with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that in you. That's why I asked the question. So tell me about, so you've been channeling publicly for about 1.5 years, and it seems like your following is growing very fast. So we'll talk about this toward the end as well, but tell me how that's been going for you. What kind of things have you been doing? Do you do events and private sessions, and where can people find out more about you if they want to book a session?
Yeah, well, they can find out all the information on my website, louisekay.net, and I'm also on all the main social media sites. So if people just search Louise Kay channeling Aikon, which is AIKON, they can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+, all those things. So I'm very connected, and I like to stay connected with people, and I like to really talk to them. I started a group recently on Facebook. I think it's called Louise Kay and Aikon Community. So it's a really nice space where people can share their experiences and support each other. I'm very active in there. I work with people over Skype, and I do 30-minute and 60-minute sessions. I do channeling sessions, and I do channeling lessons for people that want to learn how to channel themselves. I offer transformational life coaching. And I also do group events. I've been traveling around the world for the past 2 years with my partner, and wherever we are in the world, I usually do group events, or someone invites me to go somewhere and they help to arrange an event. And recently I've started also doing live stream events. So I do channelings online, and it's really fun because people from all over the world join, and they can ask their questions, they type their questions in there. And it's a great way to connect with other people that enjoy Aikon and Aikon's energy. So it's a lot of fun. The next one's coming up on February 2nd.
And now you said you teach channeling. A lot of people who are in these different mediums of intuitive work, such as psychic mediums and intuitive channels, seem to have the belief that they need to protect themselves when they start channeling. Do you find that that's true, and is that something that you teach?
That's not my experience at all. My experience is that the vibration that we're emitting within ourselves attracts to us our experience. So the idea that we need to protect ourselves, for me, comes from an energy of fear that is not safe. So if somebody has that belief, then they probably do need to protect themselves, because they're going to attract those beings that they need to protect themselves from. But I prefer to support people in maintaining such a vibration of love and security inside themselves, and excitement and joy, and all these high vibrational positive energies, so that they're not actually a vibrational match for any beings that are going to cause them any harm.
Do you think that everyone has the ability to channel, since you teach a lot of people, obviously, or do you believe that some people like yourself are more predisposed to it and maybe born with the ability and are more naturally gifted in that area?
I think it's like anything, really. Like if you were to talk about singing or playing football, there are people that are just born and they're amazing singers and it comes very natural to them. Some people, they love singing, but they're not so good, and then they work at it and they get better. And some people, they're just terrible and it's not for them. It's very clear. And I think channeling is the same. I usually find that people who feel that they're excited about doing it and they're drawn to it and they've got this feeling that they want to learn to channel, they have that ability within them. And that feeling that they've got is their higher self actually communicating to them, saying, yes, you should do this, do this. And when they listen to that higher self and they allow themselves to open up in that way, and they take lessons or they read books or whatever, it starts to just reveal itself in a very natural way. So I don't really teach people how to do it. It's more like I support them in the unfolding of their own natural ability. And I think everybody has their own special, unique gift to share with the world. And when they follow what's really exciting for them, that will just reveal itself to them in their own life, if it's channeling or something else.
So what's your, if there was one, and I think you already mentioned this, but I'd like to ask the question again, what's your primary reason for doing this work in your life?
Well, it feels so amazing for me when I'm channeling and people tell me that it helps them and it supports them in their life. And that's really what I want to do, to reduce people's suffering and support them to find the power that they have inside themselves to live the life of their dreams that I know that everybody's capable of if they just believe in themselves. And once we see these limiting beliefs that we're holding on to that are stopping us from moving forward in our lives, they come into the light of consciousness, and when they're seen for what they are, many times they just fall away, and then people transform so rapidly. I really feel that there's a transformation happening on the planet right now. This is one of the things that Aikon said to me, why they were chosen to work with me at this time, because they want to support us in this transformation of consciousness, and people are experiencing awakenings. And I feel like I want to support people as they're going through that journey.
Okay, could we speak with the collectives now for a little while?
Sure. Hello, friend. We are so happy and excited to communicate with you in this way today. It's a great joy for us to connect with you in this way and to share with you our perspective on any issues that you wish to discuss with us. So if you have a question, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for joining with us today and to speak with our audience as well. I'd like to start by asking if you can tell a little bit more about who are the Aikon and in a way that human beings can understand.
Yes, please do bear in mind that when we are communicating, we are putting into terms which fit the human range of understanding. Most of the time, it's not exactly like this, so it's useful to bear that in mind. We are non-physical beings, we are energetic beings, and we are a collective. We refer to ourselves as Aikon, and we see our job or our role as, and we do this because the most exciting thing for us, the most fun thing for us, when we recognize that there is a civilization that's going through some kind of transformation, we support that civilization in ways that we feel are appropriate. And that is the reason why we have contacted Louise, so that we can work with humans on Earth right now. And
have the Aikon ever had a physical contact with human beings in this dimension?
We contact beings sometimes during the astral or dream time. We have not had physical contact, and that is not something that we are capable of because our physical density, we shall call it, is incompatible with the physical density that you have. We are energetic beings, but we have the capacity to manifest and create physicality at will and also create. So we could, with intention, instantly manifest, for example, a tree and then demanifest it so that it's gone again. But this physical vibration, it cannot function in your earth realm.
Tell me, are we in a time of global awakening right now? Some believe that, for example, and I know that the channel that you're working with has had some experiences in India, and in India there is a cycle called the Kali Yuga that's quite known among a lot of archaeologists and researchers, and many believe that we are at the bottom of the Kali Yuga cycle, which is an age of darkness, with another 12,000 years in the age of darkness that we still have yet to go, but that we're in the beginning of a 2,000-year cycle within that period that is an age of enlightenment. Can you tell us more about the cycles, and are we in fact entering an age of enlightenment, or do we still have a period of darkness that we must go through before that happens?
Yes, everything happens in cycles. If you look at nature, you'll see cycles everywhere, cycles of day and night, of seasons. Nature is cyclical. And also the levels of consciousness are cyclical in a similar way. So yes, we perceive that you are going through a transformation of consciousness now, where you are entering what you refer to as a light. And as you enter this perceived time, this awakening, it may seem that you are experiencing darkness, but what actually is happening is that these energies that are hitting the earth and affecting the beings right now are creating space for the darkness within to rise up in order for it to heal and release as you move forward into the light.
Now, can you tell me a bit about this particular channel? Why have you chosen this channel to come through at this time?
We felt that the energy body of Louise was the most compatible with our energy, and there is an aspect of her soul which simultaneously exists in our realms. We are familiar with her energy. We know her as a kind of friend.
Tell me about dimensions. A lot of us human beings who are more awakened are very much aware of the acceleration of consciousness these days. And we're curious, are we still, as a collective, functioning within the third dimension, or are we moving toward the fourth or fifth dimension?
You're in the third dimension, but you must remember that these labels are simply labels. They do not give so much importance to them. You're going through a kind of transition, and as these energies are hitting your planet and affecting your consciousness, it is thinning the veils to the other dimension, so to speak. So it is becoming easier for you to access energetic realms and to communicate with beings from other realms.
So you said we're in the third dimension, correct?
Yes.
But are human beings individually accessing higher dimensions? A lot of people believe that they are fifth dimensional beings, or some even 13th dimensional beings. What does that mean exactly?
Yes, they are simply labels, and they're simply limited ways of putting into language an experience which cannot actually be described. There are many different levels for us to answer this question from. From the widest perspective, from the highest truth, all is one. Everything is connected. You experience from your dimension the concept of time and a construct where it seems like you're experiencing past and future. So some of you now may be recognizing and remembering past or future lives, but actually it's all happening simultaneously. So there is an essence, that your soul, the essence of your energetic being, and it is experiencing many different lifetimes simultaneously, but you seem like you're in this body right now because your focus of attention is directed into that stream. It is possible to also simultaneously take a part of your attention and connect to another aspect of yourself. This is another level, we would say. On the deepest level of truth, you are all one. We are you, you are us, we're all connected.
Can you explain what is going on in terms of what's been going on with the collective consciousness for the last many thousands of years, with all the wars and difficulties that people have endured in the past?
It's such a heavy word. We recommend that you don't take things so seriously because you get caught up in all these dramas. You must remember that life is a game, it's a play, and it's the purpose of it is for the oneness to experience a wide range of energy so that it can learn and grow from itself, and this requires experiencing the dark and experiencing the light. So we recommend that you do not place judgment on what you refer to as negative things, and recognize that they are necessary too. So it's simply a cycle, like you experience the night and it's dark, and then you experience the day and it's light.
Are there malevolent beings that are influencing the consciousness of our planet and the human evolution? Or is that, a lot of people believe that that's the case?
But if they believe it, then they're opening themselves up to experiencing it, because everything that you believe, you will manifest, because you have to prove to yourself that you are right, and you are always right. So what you believe, you will create. And you are master creators. This is what we wish for you to remember, to understand that you are creating your whole reality based on your beliefs, your feelings, your thoughts, and the energy that you're emitting into the universe. You're acting like energetic beacons, and you're sending out a signal, and whatever that signal says, the universe responds to it, and it says, okay, we're receiving your signal, we will manifest that signal in your physical reality, and it acts like a mirror, so it's reflecting back to you. It's showing you what you have inside of you, what you believe. And it's acting like a mirror, reflecting back to you all of your conscious and unconscious beliefs, all of the energies within your system, and it's doing so that you can interact with that interface, with that mirror, and you can recognize the aspects of yourself which you wish to transform and change, and you allow more light to enter your system. This is what we refer to as consciously creating your life.
Has there been any dramatic shift in the last few years in terms of the awakening of consciousness? Has there been an acceleration, or a shift to a different, more high consciousness timeline of experience than prior to that.
Yes, there has, and it is continuing to quicken. It's the most exciting time. Are you enjoying the ride?
Yes, thank you. And now a lot of people, especially in the United States, I know you're in Brazil now, and the channel is from the UK, but this show is originating in the United States, and we just recently had an election, which obviously a lot of countries around the world have elections at different times. Many people believe that our global leaders influence the future of the planet, and that some people are on one side of the opinion and some on the other. To what effect do our leaders and governments have an influence in the direction that we're going as a consciousness?
They're a representation of your collective consciousness. So the leader is also acting as a mirror. So the current leader that you have, the new one, Donald Trump, yes, we are aware of this. Many of you are not happy about it. Many of you think a lot is going to change. And those of you that feel it's not a good thing, that you're angry about it, it is an invitation for you to look at this man and recognize that the things about him that you find annoying are a mirror for, in some way, you have that energy inside of you. And if it wasn't there, it wouldn't bother you at all. So he's acting as a mirror for you to access deeper levels of yourself. And he triggers many people in this way. And it is a wonderful thing, because it is a great invitation and opportunity for a mass healing. This is what is happening on your global scale right now. You're experiencing healings on individual levels. So because of these energies and this transformation that you're experiencing, your systems are opening up, and everything that wants to rise up in order to release is bubbling up to the surface. So you notice it in your individual lives, and you also notice it on the collective scale. So wounds between nations are healing. Wounds between the masculine and the feminine are healing. And you can see this, for example, what is happening at Standing Rock. This is a representation of the wound between the indigenous peoples and the American people who came to the land, which has been going on for a long time. Now it is time for the healing, and this allows for it. Also between when your women were protesting, this is a reflection of the divine feminine energy coming into balance. And you'll notice more and more of these things happening on your planet, and it's wonderful. We recommend that you embrace it and you get excited about it. And Donald Trump is simply one moment, we are searching for a word. He's an opportunity for you to get in touch with these darker aspects of yourself. And it must happen, because you can't jump over these things. As you're moving into the higher levels of consciousness, you must clear out all the junk that's lying on the bottom that you've been resisting for many years. But now you have more maturity. You're able to meet it and heal it and release it.
So from that vantage point, just so I can make sure I'm understanding you correctly, are you saying that who we choose as our leaders are not really chosen by our physical act of voting for them, as much as where the collective consciousness is at that time is vibrationally choosing the leader that most represents our collective as a mirror?
Well, it is both, because the leader that you vote for in the physical, when you take the pen and mark the X, that is a result of the energy that you are vibrating. If you are vibrating at a certain frequency, that will draw you to voting for a particular person.
Let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about extraterrestrial contact. In the world, it seems like a lot of people have been reporting extraterrestrial contact, and I understand Aikon are primarily multidimensional beings who don't take a physical form in our dimension. But can you tell me, has there been extraterrestrial physical contact as we would be able to interact with them in our dimension? Has that actually occurred? And is there a time in the future when such physical contact may be more prevalent.
Yes, it has been occurring from way, 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 way before you were born. And it is most likely going to increase as more and more people become aware that it is happening and that it is possible. And that is one of the reasons why we're here to support you, so that we can support you in preparation for physical contact. And there are many beings in the universe which are excited to interact with you on a intergalactic scale, intergalactic level. However, a certain level of maturity and consciousness must be reached on your planet, on your behalf. So we're here to support you as you go through this process, and it will happen when the time is right. All is happening in perfect timing, but we do see the timeline where it is most likely that it will happen in your lifetime.
And in these times of physical contact that have occurred in our past, were some of these beings responsible for some of the ancient structures, such as the pyramids and ancient cities around the world?
Yes. And as you move forward on this journey of transformation, what you will recognize is that more of the truth of your history starts to come into mainstream knowledge. There are many groups now which have this awareness, but it is kind of limited still, but it will come more into the mainstream, and your archaeologists and your historians will start to discover more information, because the energetic frequency of the planet is raising, and this allows for this information to be released.
And what was the purpose of these ancient structures? As human beings and a lot of conventional archaeologists these days believe that they were used as tombs for pharaohs, and yet it seems like these structures were built before those times. What was there a primary purpose for these constructions?
Yes, they supported the expansion of consciousness. They were used for sound healings. They were used for retaining wisdom and information, many different uses. And this is part of the cycle, and these understandings at that time were in the consciousness of the people, and there was much interaction with extraterrestrial beings, and you are coming full circle into that time again, where you will once again experience these things and have these understandings. And most of you are the same beings.
So these extraterrestrial beings that constructed these structures obviously were they using technology to construct them, or was it simply more advanced capabilities that they had that we as human beings don't at the moment possess?
Both.
And are we as a human civilization heading into a future when those capabilities will return or be opened up for us?
Yes, it is already happening, we feel, right now.
And what's the reason why it was withheld or suppressed for so many thousands of years until now?
Well, it is part of the cycle that we were speaking of earlier. It's the cycle of nature. So if you were to experience a reality where you had all of the wisdom of the universe all of the time and everybody was in peace and harmony, there wouldn't be room for growth and expansion. So what happens is consciousness moves through these cycles and waves and then allows for growth.
The various extraterrestrials who have been in physical contact with human beings throughout history, has there been any kind of an interest in producing a hybrid race of beings through that interaction?
Yes.
And what is the purpose, or what are the reasons for doing that?
We feel it is not really our place to discuss this agenda because it is not related to our work. We feel that we are here to support you in coming into your power and recognizing the power that you hold within yourselves, in seeing the limiting beliefs that you're holding on to and letting go of them, and we wish to teach you to follow what's exciting for you, to reconnect with your higher selves, to trust your intuition, because we know that many of you, especially at this time, you're hearing your intuition like a small whisper, but you're not acting on it. You're still listening to your mind and the ideas of your mind, and we are here to support you and to tell you to have the courage to listen to that intuition, that inner voice, and act upon that, and it will open up to you all that you need to experience, and the universe is supporting you, and it will bring you everything you need, and it will open up your path magically, wonderfully. We are here to remind you to connect to your hearts, to love one another. You know this, many of you know this, but it is time to implement these teachings.
And in order to open up to these abilities, is it simply enough to intend, or do you suggest techniques or practices that would help us to connect to this intuition?
Yes, you all have individual, unique abilities. So some will find that they have stronger healing capacities, which will start to open up. Some will be able to channel or communicate with other beings in other dimensions, and this will start to open up. Some will be able to communicate more with animals. And the most effective thing that you can do is to act on what is exciting for you. Because whatever you focus your attention on, then you will draw more of that to your experience naturally. So focus on what you're excited about, and it will simply reveal itself to you when the time is right. The most important thing is that you don't get caught up in techniques. I need to study, I need to learn books. Enjoy life. Don't take it so seriously. And have fun, and be creative, and express yourselves, and play with each other.
And what should human beings do if they are experiencing a period of difficulty or negative emotions as a result of something going on in their life, or maybe even individuals in their life? Should they remove those experiences, for example, change jobs or change relationships, in order to find happiness, or should they try to find happiness within the situation that they're in?
All the answers that you ever need in every given moment, you can access within yourselves. And this is what we would like to support you in doing, in accessing that inner knowing within yourself. You must tune in, you must listen, and you must act upon that inner knowing. And when you do, your life will transform magically. Remember that every situation that you have manifested in your life, you have created for the purpose of your growth. So there is a lesson in everything. So when you're experiencing what you perceive as negative experiences, you can allow yourself to fall into victim mode and say, oh, poor me, look what's happening to me. And then you'll spiral into this downward negativity. Or you can recognize that there's something for me to learn here and grow from here. And not get yourself caught up in the drama of it, not get yourself caught up in your own mind and your thoughts connected to it, but create some space between those. And from this space, from a wider perspective, look at your situation and ask yourself, why did I manifest this? What is this here to teach me? Because every challenge, every problem, every difficulty, every illness in your life is a messenger, and it's bringing you a message. And it will continue. You will continue to receive these messages, and you will manifest over and over again very similar situations, very similar problems, until you allow yourself to see it. And once it has been seen, and you have learned or grown from it in the way that your higher self is communicating to you that you will benefit from, then it will stop happening. Or if it does happen, it won't be a problem for you anymore. We wish to speak further on this subject because there is a lot that we feel we can say about this. So please stop us if you would like to change topic. This is very juicy material for us. We enjoy very much talking about this. And we feel that many of you can benefit from it. When these emotions rise up within you, where you're feeling negative emotions, you're feeling depression, you're feeling anger, most of you, your initial reaction is to repress it, to avoid feeling it because it feels unpleasant. So you numb yourselves, and you've trained yourself to do this very well. and you reach for the glass of wine or for the chocolate bar, or you turn on the TV, or anything possibly you can do so that you don't have to feel. It is time to remember how to feel again and to allow yourself to feel. When you allow yourself to feel, your system opens up, and from a space of openness, it allows these energies to move and release from the system. Everything that has been repressed from the day of your birth until this day right now, all those emotions which you did not feel, they must be felt in order to be transformed. They must be seen. So when something feels unpleasant, that is a wonderful opportunity for you. That is your chance for growth and for healing. So we recommend that you see it as a positive thing. And you can close your eyes and take some breaths and go into a meditation when you recognize that you've been triggered, when there's some energy in you that doesn't feel good. And bring your energy into your body and hold a loving space for that unpleasantness, that contraction, that tightness. Hold it in love, just as you would hold a newborn baby in your arms. And you can even communicate to it, and you can ask it, how are you feeling? And you can tell it, I'm here for you now, because it's trying to get your attention. And it's going to keep trying to get your attention until you listen to it and allow yourself to feel it. It's simply energy which wants to be felt, which wants to be released. When you resist it and you say no, your system contracts, it tightens up, all your cells tighten up, and the energy becomes more dense in your system, so it doesn't have space to flow around your energy body. And when these dense energies build up and up and up, eventually they manifest into what you refer to as a disease. So when you allow it, and you don't judge it as bad, and you give love to that unpleasant sensation, and you breathe, and you connect to the stillness, your system opens, your cells open. And from this space of openness, this energy can release. It will move around the body, you follow it with your awareness, and it releases very gently and very naturally. Of course, when you are experiencing a challenge in your life, then if it doesn't resonate for you and you can take action on it and you can choose something that's more fun for you, then we recommend that you always do that. If you always, in every given moment, follow what is most exciting for you based on what is available to you in that moment, you will put yourself on the path of highest alignment, and the universe will support you in that.
Are all human beings, do we all have infinite potential in this current incarnation, or do we come into incarnation with certain life experience that is pre-written that we have chosen to experience? So, for example, we spoke about Donald Trump earlier, who has made a lot of money and become the president of the United States. Was that a path that was predestined for him in this life? Or can anybody achieve that by simply intending?
Well, it is both. Before you incarnate into the physical realm, your soul sets out a kind of, there's a map and a kind of path, which would be what we refer to as the path of highest alignment. So this would be the most beneficial experience, which would allow for the maximum amount of growth during that lifetime. So in every moment, you're experiencing the maximum growth possible to you. And then you incarnate and you have total free will. So you can go as far away from this path as you wish to. And you can allow yourself to follow this path. It is not really a path. Remember, we are speaking metaphorically. It is not exactly like this. We're putting it into terms that you can understand. Your higher self communicates with you through your feelings, through your body. So you tune into how something feels, and if it feels good in your body, if it feels exciting, if you feel open, if you feel joy when you think about that thing, when you look at that thing, then you follow that. And if it doesn't feel good, if you feel a contraction, if you feel a tightness in your stomach area, regardless of what the mind tells you, even if the mind tells you, but this looks like a wonderful opportunity to make lots of money, it is not wise to follow it. You must listen to your body, to how it feels in the body. And this will put you on your path of highest alignment.
So are you saying that how we know, essentially my question is, how do we know if we're following the path that is intended for us or that we intended to experience, is that simply by how we feel about what we're doing in any given time?
Yes, the more you feel open and love and joy and excitement, like you were when you were a child. You remember this comes very naturally to children because it's something that's inbuilt in your system. So when you're living in this way, but because of your teachings and your schools and your conditioning, you kind of forget about it somewhere along the way, and now it's time to remember. So you watch your children, you learn very well how to do this. When you're in alignment, you will feel wonderful. You'll feel happy to be alive. You'll feel excited.
It seems to me that the majority of human beings, especially adult human beings, are quite unhappy in the lives that they've chosen. Is that an indication that most of us are have gone far off of the path that we came here to experience?
Well, it is not really a matter of distance, because that path is always accessible to you in every given moment. And even if you go 100 miles away from that path, metaphorically speaking, you can get back onto that path in 1 second. It's always accessible to you. And the reason why you're experiencing misery, many of you, is because you've been going through your life based on what your mind is instructing you to do and what your mind is telling you will be best for you. But the mind has very limited capabilities, and you're trying to use it for everything. We recommend that you give your power to your heart center. The mind is still useful for making arrangements, for calculating, but you're giving it more power than it needs. Start to trust your heart. Start to follow the feelings in your heart, and that's when you'll start to really get into the flow of the excitement of living.
And how does one, because majority of us have been raised in a very westernized society where the mind is what we're trained to use, and we go through intellectual education to develop the mind, and we have really gone far from the use of the heart. How does someone reconnect with the heart to use that in a more balanced way?
Yes, it is time to bring back balance. You've been overusing your mind. The mind is not a bad thing. It's a very useful tool, and it can assist you in many ways. But there is an imbalance in most of you, and especially in your collective. So you must recognize your thoughts. You must become aware of your thoughts. This is the first step, to become an observer. And you can simply sit down and focus on your breath and notice your thoughts arising. When you notice your thoughts arising, you can recognize that you are separate from your thought, because if there is an aspect of you which is noticing the thought, then you cannot be the thought. And in this way, you create separation between yourself and your thought. And as you begin to do this, and every time a thought arises, use it as a reminder to follow your breath. Come back to your breath and breathe and breathe. And you will not give your focus of attention so much onto the mind. And when you don't feed it in this way, it starts to get quieter. If you focus your attention on your breath, it will bring your energy down into your body. And when it comes down into your body, the heart center will start to become more activated. So it's all about where you're focusing your attention. Where are you focusing your awareness? Are you thinking all the time, or are you feeling? You must remember how to feel.
When I speak with a lot of human beings about following something that's meaningful to them, that brings them joy, a lot of them express that they have a fear of doing the thing that would make them, that they feel that would make them happy. What's the cause of this fear, and how does someone trust to follow a path that may be unknown to them and move beyond this fear?
Yes, there can be different causes of the fear. For some, it is connected to a past life experience, which is actually a simultaneous life experience, where they've experienced some kind of trauma connected to that idea. It could be something that happened during this lifetime as a child, which they do not even remember anymore. The most effective thing that can be done is, when this fear rises up, Instead of trying to push it away and say, I shouldn't feel this fear, it's stopping me. Instead, stop and relax and allow yourself to breathe and allow yourself to tune into your body and ask yourself, where exactly am I feeling this sensation? Because the word fear is simply a label to describe an energy in the body. And when you tune in to your body, you will notice a sensation. It may be unpleasant. When you notice it, you can allow yourself to open and feel it. And it could be when it rises up during this time, a memory comes connected to it, and it is a moment, an opportunity for healing and to release that fear. Do not push the fear away. Do not hate the fear. If you reject the fear, you're rejecting an aspect of yourself. Instead, embrace that fear, love that fear, hold that fear in your arms. Speak to that fear. Ask it, what are you afraid of? As you mature, there are aspects of your being which experience a kind of trauma, and they do not mature with the rest of you. They stay at a certain age when the trauma happens. So if at age 5 you experience a kind of trauma, and it doesn't have to be something like a big accident or a murder in the family. It can be something very small, for example, being ridiculed at school. And you may not remember it right now, but that experience has an effect on the energetic body, and that energy stays in the system. So the rest of the energy body matures, and that part stays as a 5-year-old. And now that the being is at a stage of spiritual maturity, in a place where they're ready to meet these wounds, these fragments, these traumas, you must act as the parent for that 5-year-old inside, and that's how you can communicate to it, and you can tell it, I love you, I'm here for you. And if you remember some experience where trauma happened when you were young, you can speak to that child, and tell them what they needed to hear in that moment of the trauma, because most likely they were not supported in an emotionally healthy way, and that's why this jolt happened in the energetic body, and this energy got stuck at that age.
You mentioned that thought originates in the mind, and love.
No, thought is a reflection of an energy.
Okay. Does fear have a physical place in the body that it expresses?
It is different for different beings. And these energies, once you allow yourself to open and feel them, oftentimes they start to move around. And the body, the physical and energy body, has an intelligence of its own. So when your mind gets out of the way and you start to feel and allow yourself to feel, the energies move around, and just allow this process to happen, because this intelligence will take over. And it may move around for some days, or just follow it. Don't judge it. Be unconditional about it. And eventually it will leave your system, either through the arms or out of the top of the head or through the feet.
During this channeling experience, is it just information that's being transmitted through this channel, or is there an energy or a consciousness that's also being projected that is influencing the viewers of this show?
Yes, you observe most accurately. We are transmitting to you information, but encoded within that information and within the spaces between the words, there is an energetic transmission happening. So those that are open to receiving these energies will be receiving them, and it will affect their DNA, cellular structure, in a positive way.
And that's happening throughout the whole conversation then, or is there something in particular that you need to do that would be a further assistance to the viewers?
No, it's been happening all the time. We're not enforcing it upon you. Those that are willing and wish to receive it will receive it.
To tell me more about this DNA activation or evolution that's occurring through this energy that you are transmitting, what kinds of effects is it having on individuals?
Well, it's not only through the energy that we are transmitting. Your Earth, your planet, your whole solar system, in fact, is moving through an area of space which is being affected by certain energies. So it is affecting your cells, your energy bodies, and it is like you're experiencing a kind of upgrade. And there will be a new kind of human in the future. As when you look back through your past, you saw many different versions of humans, and you've given them different names. Well, there is another one coming, and as we mentioned earlier, this new version, it will have more of your DNA activated. A lot of it is dormant right now. And you will have more access, as we mentioned earlier, to other realms of consciousness. So you will be able to see and feel more energies more easily. You will remember your past and future lives, simultaneous lives more easily. You'll be able to access them. You will notice healing abilities spontaneously arising, or it will be there if you wish to develop it.
From our awareness of our human timeline, when is this new version of human arriving?
Well, it all depends on you, really. Your future is not set in stone. It's constantly fluctuating. We do not feel we are able to give you a precise date for that information right now.
Is this, other than a precise date, is this something that will happen in a human lifetime from now, or are we referring to something that is potentially thousands of years, depending on how we evolve, of course?
Well, the process is already underway. It will be less than thousands of years.
Okay, but not within the lifespan of most human beings today.
Probably not this generation, but they will experience some of it.
Tell me about the children that have been born in recent years. Quite many of them are referred to as crystal or indigo or star seeds. Are they born with more of this DNA activated than those older generations that are currently incarnated?
Yes, this is the process that we are speaking of. So you're kind of upgrading as a species, and it will happen slowly, and you're being supported in many ways for this transition, and then eventually reach a point when the whole of your civilization is a brand new species.
And from what I understand, the whole collective of the entire solar system is also evolving with us as well, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Is there life on all the different planets in our solar system, but at other dimensions, or are they actually existing in physical dimension as well, as we would refer to physical?
There is one of your planets in your solar system where there has been physical life. We feel it would be more fun for you to discover this yourselves, and we feel that in your lifetime this will come into light. You will start to understand more about this. We do not feel we wish to go into in any more detail on this. In the other dimensional realms, yes, it's very busy. There's life everywhere.
There are a lot of theories that we were, as a human civilization, created or genetically altered by many other advanced races, such as the Anunnaki, who apparently once were in physical manifestation here in the Earth dimension. Is that how our evolution occurred, or did we naturally evolve over millions of years?
Yes, there was some support from the outside, and right now also you are being supported as you transition into this new version of the human.
But we're being supported currently on a vibrational level through collectives such as yourself, correct? Or are we being supported in a physical way?
Some also physically.
And do you foresee in the next, in the average human's lifetime, that we will see a substantial progress toward a more peaceful, enlightened world, even if it isn't the full manifestation of this highly evolved human being that's coming in the future?
all depends on you. It is an infinite universe, so it is most definitely possible. And from our perspective, we perceive it as being quite probable. You may experience what you feel is a rough ride along the way because, as we spoke of earlier, everything that has been repressed must bubble up and come to the surface for healing. But the more you allow yourselves to stay in the space of stillness during this process and not get caught up in the drama of it all, the easier and smoother the ride will be. So some of you will have a very smooth and enjoyable ride, and you'll recognize what is happening. You'll recognize that energies are coming up to be processed, and you'll support others in their journey. And some of you who do not have such levels of awareness will be totally identified with the dramas and get totally caught up in it, and they will have a rougher ride. But that is what they need, because whatever experience you are having is what is the most beneficial for you in that moment.
From that standpoint, are human beings sharing a collective timeline, or are we all on individual timelines based on our own individual awareness and focus? As you said, some of us will struggle and may go through some suffering, whereas others may have a more positive, uplifted future. So do we each have the ability to choose a timeline of global experience? For example, in the world, there may be things going on that some of us do not care to participate in. Can we simply, by our intention and our focus, choose the world or the timeline in which we wish to live?
Yes, each one of you is the center of the universe, and we are all one being experiencing reality through a different set of eyes. So Louise is the center of her universe, and you are the center of your universe, and each one is manifesting the physical reality around them that most serves their growth and development and expansion from that perspective, so that the whole can experience simultaneously many different things so that it can grow. You understand our answer?
Yeah, I do understand the answer. So how does a human being who may be going through or who is focused in some of the more things that are occurring in the mainstream version of reality where there appears to be a lot of suffering, how does that individual shift to a timeline of experience that is more uplifting and positive and enlightened?
Well, awakenings happen when the time is right. So imagine yourselves, you're all humans on planet are in a giant pot, and you're all kernels of corn in that pot. And we turn on the heat. The heat is the energy that's hitting the planet right now. And some of you are starting to pop, and some pop before others. So it does not happen before the time is right for that being. And when their time is right, when they pop, their awakening will happen, and something will trigger it, and it will spark some interest. And when they follow that interest, they will receive more and more information in a way which is easy for them to digest and process, or which they're capable of. You'll never receive in any given moment more than you're able to handle. And it happens in a different way. So if they don't have any interest in doing that, and they're totally caught up in the dream, in the drama, then that is fine. That's what they need to experience right now. You cannot force them to change. It's like picking a fruit before it is ripe.
A lot of people seem to be, well, a lot of individuals seem to be concerned that we are heading into a future where there will be a World War III, and even many spiritual, well-known spiritual teachers are forecasting a future like that. Is that future going to occur, or is it possible that it occurs just for certain individuals who are focused on that timeline of experience, but not for others?
Yes, it is a possibility, because everything is possible. Everything you can imagine is a possibility. We recommend that if you do not wish to experience something, then you do not focus your intention on it, because the universe does not respond to negatives. For example, if you say, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want to experience this, then it's going to bring you the experience of not wanting to experience it, which means you will experience it and you will have resistance to it. It's all a matter of where you focus your awareness and your attention. So if you're focusing on negative things and you're feeling strong energy inside yourself that amplifies it, and you're actually contributing towards making it happen, and if you're going around telling everyone there's going to be World War III, there's going to be World War III, you must prepare, then you're spreading that vibration. If you don't want to experience that, we recommend that you focus your attention on something that gives you a feeling inside of you of joy, of peace, of love, of excitement. This is your higher self telling you, yes, this is the path of the least resistance. This is the path that will serve you the most. And follow that and focus your attention on that. So it all depends on you.
Are the Aikon also evolving in consciousness as the human? Is it in any way tied to the human evolution in consciousness? Are we interconnected in some way?
We are connected in a way in which we consider you to be relatives of ours. We do share a certain portion of DNA, but we are not experiencing a rapid evolution of consciousness as you are on your planet right now.
And why is that? Is it because your level of evolution is substantially greater than ours and therefore it doesn't require at this time that level of awakening?
Yes, it is not part of the experience which we have chosen.
Is our evolution and awakening in any way tied to the rest of the universe? And
yes, everything is connected. So what happens on your planet has an impact and an influence through the whole of infinity across every timeline.
Some scientists believe that as we're entering this section of the solar system or the section of the galaxy, that there is what has been called a super wave of energy that is emanating from the center of the galaxy that is largely responsible for this awakening that we're experiencing right now. And at certain times in our previous history has actually resulted in cataclysms and things like that. Is that the case right now?
There is an energy which is affecting your awakening and this transformation. It is affecting you. We do not feel that a great cataclysm connected to it is likely in your future from what we perceive right now.
So you don't foresee any global disaster at all, whether it's related to this energy or not, in our foreseeable future?
Well, there are many possibilities, and the more disasters that you can think up and imagine and focus on, then the more possibility there is of experiencing them. See, when your imagination is a tool and your thoughts are tools, but if you're not using them consciously, then they're just running wild and you're allowing your fears to take over and run the show, and then you're unconsciously manifesting your reality. And what we're pointing to is the fact that you are master creators. You are creating your reality, and it is time for you to step into the power and to choose consciously what you wish to experience and what you wish to create. And by doing so, focus on that thing which brings you excitement and joy. Focus on what you want to experience and allow yourself to feel good and get into this momentum of this energy, and it will manifest with great ease and great speed. You can create any cataclysm that you can imagine. If enough of you focus your attention on it, you are so powerful that you can also manifest a beautiful, harmonious civilization.
Does diet and lifestyle in any way influence our awakening, or either assist or inhibit our ability to focus on a more positive future? Is it necessary, for example, to eat a more live food diet as opposed to eating meats and cooked food?
Well, you're all totally unique, and you all have a totally unique makeup, and we recommend that each of you tunes into your own body and feels and listens what is right for your body. What does your system need? We feel that if you're going to consume animal products, it serves you most to consume the organic ones, the ones that have been treated in a humane way. And organic produce is most beneficial. But your system is constantly communicating to you. And most of you, you have been trained to find answers from the outside, to read books or to ask an outside source. And we recommend that you tune into the inside and start to feel what your body is telling you. So you can eat some meat, for example, and afterwards pay attention to how your system feels. Does it feel good in your body? Does it feel light? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel like it's digesting it well? And you can play around with this and try different foods and try different diets and tune into your body and feel which one feels best for you.
So what is exactly happening in the body when somebody contracts a terminal illness such as cancer? Is that the result of diet or environment, or is that simply the result of improperly focused intention?
Disease occurs when there is a buildup of repressed energies connected to emotions and feelings. So when these feelings have been pushed down and avoided, they cause a kind of blockage in the system, and it affects the physical body.
And how does one relieve this blockage? Let's say somebody actually has a serious physical illness and they've been attempting to treat it through conventional physical means without any results. How does one go about releasing these repressed emotions that are at the source of this problem?
Well, most of you, when you have a disease or an illness, you go into resistance mode. And when you're in resistance mode, you're tightened up, your system's tight, everything's clenched, and it's like you put up an energetic wall, a barrier, so that the universe cannot work with you. It cannot reach you. And you reject the aspect of yourself. You say to the energy within yourself, you are bad, you are wrong, you shouldn't be here, you must go away, you're causing me problems. And it's not helpful to speak to it in this way. We recommend that you communicate to it with love and tell it, thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing me this message that you want me to hear. Thank you for getting my attention. I hear you now. I'm here for you now. I love you. You can even place your hand on the area of the body where you feel the discomfort or the pain or the illness, and consciously send with your intention from your heart, send love to it and say to it, you're good, you're pure, I love you, you are divine. And in this way, you embrace all aspects of yourself and you allow the energy to flow, and you move in a flowing way with the universal energies as opposed to resisting it. Do you have further questions?
That will be all for today.
Thank you for communicating with us in this way. It was a great joy for us to interact with you, and we send you much love. We remind you once again of the power that you all harbor within yourselves. We remind you to follow what is exciting for you, to love yourselves, and allow yourselves to feel. We leave you now with much love. Goodbye, dear friends.
Thank you. So what is that experience like for you? What do you sense or feel when you're channeling?
I feel the energy of Aikon, so it feels different from my own energy. And sometimes I receive the information in images, and I explain those images, I put them into words. Sometimes I experience a kind of chunk of information, and it feels like it unravels, almost like it's getting downloaded. And sometimes I just hear information and relay it.
I see. And do you come out of the experience in a heightened state of joy, and does it last beyond the actual experience?
Yeah, most of the time after I'm channeling, I feel very elated afterwards, and I feel high vibrational. Sometimes if I'm working with somebody who, for example, has a lot of resistance, and they're not really open to it, and they're kind of challenging and attacking. It doesn't feel so good afterwards, but it's very rare that that happens.
So you're traveling around the world. You're going to be in Brazil for a few months, you said, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a channeling event in March in Porto Alegre. And I'm also probably going to be going to Europe later in the year and doing some channeling events there. Anyone that wants to follow where I'm going to be, they can find out on my website or connect with me on Facebook, and all the information is posted on there.
And what was your website again?
It's Louise Kay, LOUISEKAY.net.
And from your experience, as you're traveling around the world, you're interacting with lots of people and obviously doing a lot of sessions over Skype. Do you see a trend toward a more awakened consciousness? Are more and more, do you see an acceleration that makes you believe that we are headed into a more positive, high consciousness future?
Yeah, most definitely. And not just with the people that I'm meeting on my journey. Even I'm seeing things like in the mainstream news showing reports, like in the UK, they've started doing meditation classes in schools. And this is something that would have been ridiculed even 10 years ago. And now the kids are meditating in class, and yoga is becoming more and more popular. And even my own parents do yoga now. I'm seeing it everywhere I look. It's amazing.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show with me today, and thank you for taking so much time and for channeling for us as well. And I'll be keeping an eye on your work, and hopefully we can speak again in the future.
I'd love to. Thanks for having me on your show, Ethan. It was really nice to talk to you today.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Awaken and Power TV with my special guest, Louise Kay. Join me next week as we speak with another incredible individual who's standing on the leading edge and changing the world.